This here is part 2 of the 12th Conference on National Scenic and Historic Trails.
2018, which seems like a really long time from now. It isn't. It'll be a year before you know it. It's the 50th anniversary of the National Trail System Act, which is what created this whole entire National Trail System to begin with. And let me ask, how many of you actually know when we talk about the National Trail System now, what that means? How many of you sort of are like, okay, you keep saying this, but what the heck is it? You can raise your hand, it's okay. Okay, so how many of you have heard of the Appalachian Trail? I always hate that. How many of you have heard of the Old Natchez Trace National Scenic Trail? Oh, I'm impressed. Oh, wait, that wasn't fair.
Try the Alakahakai Trail.
Yeah, but I can't even say it right.
Alakahakai National Historic Trail.
How many of you know about that one?
The old people over there.
How many of you know about the Lewis and Clark National Historic Trail? Okay, how about the Pacific Crest National Scenic Trail? The Pacific Northwest Trail.
National Scenic Trail.
National Scenic Trail. How about the Arizona National Scenic Trail? Okay, good. So the point is there's two types of trails. Actually, there's many types of trails in the National Trail System, but the reason we're here, there's three types. There's scenic, historic, recreation, and...
Connected inside. There's only two of them. One's on your trail and one's on the outside.
Oh, I don't know. That's just... There's historic, and the historic trails, there's National Historic and National Scenic Trails, which are trails that Congress created through the National Trail System Act of either 1968, 78, and through some amendments in 1983. That basically created this network of trails. And actually in your packet, somewhere in your packet, you have a map that has all the different National Scenic Trails that connect. And the goal behind this National Trail System was that for the National Scenic and Historic Trails is that they would create a network for people to either recreate or appreciate the historical context of key travel corridors across our country from our history as a country. So there's a lot of them that are related to like the Trail of Tears, the Nez Perce Trail, the Lewis and Clark Trail, the Old Santa Fe Trail, which is a trail for southern folks down there in Texas and New Mexico and Arizona, and then scenic trails, which are really geared at these recreational experiences. And the importance of these national scenic and historic trails is they preserve the high quality scenic, recreational, historical, cultural resources that exist in our country. But with scenic trails, the goal is that you can actually recreate on these trails. So that's why the AT and the PCT and the Continental Divide National Scenic Trail, people go out there and ride bikes and horses. Well, not on all of them, just on the CAT. They ride horses and they walk and they hike and they experience these trails through recreating on them. And then historical trails are oftentimes set trails that you learn and you read about as you go on these historical paths. So it might be like you're driving down the interstate and there's signs that tell you this is where something happened on the Oregon and California Trail. And so all of those trails together tell a story, a national story about our resources that exist for historical context or scenic recreational context. Marcia?
What was really important about them is that it was somebody local who got so invested in the story of Selma to Montgomery. It was so important to so many people that they all rattled the cage of their legislators and said, we want this to be on the map. This is so important. And the same with the Continental Divide Trail. It was a group of people that loved hiking in that area that were making that hike, and they're like, this needs to be preserved for everybody forever. And they got their legislators to make it a national scenic trail. So it's the local driven people who make it happen. Even though it goes to Congress, it's people at home who care. It's the kind of things that you guys are doing already. And that's why you're here.
So then let's go to national recreation trails. These are different kinds of trails. They're also recognized nationally, but they're sort of more local trails that exist in and around your cities, towns, urban areas that are more designed for recreation. You may not be on the spine of the Continental Divide looking into the Atlantic watershed and the Pacific watershed, but they might be connected to the CDT. They might be connected to the AT. They might be connected to your local national park or forest around your town, or they might be in your town. They might be an urban recreation trail. I think some of the trails here in Missoula, in and around, are national recreation trails. So they may not be these big, granddaddy sort of long distance trails of some sort, but they are definitely still part of the national trail system. That's what we're here for. You have the really cool thing about the national trail system, is actually Marshall alluded to, is that there's a private component to the public part of it. These are national trail systems that are managed by our land agencies, the Forest Service, BLM, National Park Service, Fish and Wildlife Service in some cases. But they can't do that alone, because these trails are really big resources. And that's why they need us, the private folks, the people who are part of the Lewis and Clark Trail Foundation, the Continental Divide Trail Alliance, the, who else is here? I'm looking. Any of us that are part of these little nonprofit groups, Pacific Crest Trail Association, we work in partnership, hand in hand, with our agency partners to make sure these trails are managed, that people are volunteering out there, keeping the stewardship of them up. Exactly. And so that's why these trails are actually here, is because it's a public and private partnership. And there's lots of roles for all of you to play, whether it be in the agency side or in the private organization side or the community side of it, the grassroots, in your backyard side of it. So that's the National Trail System. It's not just the trail, it's this community of people and volunteers stewarding hand in hand with the agency partners to make these things really beautiful resources that are open to the American public for posterity, for everybody to use at any given time for lots of different reasons. So that's why we're here. That's why we brought you here, is so that you guys can actually take the torch from some of us and start being some of the professionals or the volunteers or the people who are going to innovate and create the next sort of wave of legacy that is about these, that these trails are really critical. This is a legacy project. How many of you know what a legacy is? Anybody? What's a legacy?
From my opinion, it's basically something that will stand out in years to come.
Right. Yeah, it's something that lasts a really long time. And it's something that is not just my generation or your generation. It goes from people before me and people after me. It's something that continues. And this system of trails is a legacy project. And that means once we're gone, we need to have someone that's going to take care of it once we're gone. And so that's you guys. And that's really the goal of this conference. So bringing us back to what's the expectation. The expectation for us, for you, is that we're going to plant some seeds. We're going to plant a lot of seeds, actually, I hope, in all of you that are going to help grow in you and how you think and innovate and create how you're going to inherit this legacy project and what you're going to do with it. And so we've created an opportunity in the next 3 days, in particular, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, for you to be exposed to lots of different topics and lots of different presentations to sort of gain a sense of what various aspects of this legacy you might want to be a part of. Maybe you want to be the storyteller. Maybe you want to be the videographer. Maybe you want to be the next trail technician who's going to come up with the next coolest set of rock steps ever. Like Suzanne. Or maybe you're going to be the one who solves some critical management issue of how we balance recreation and use and preserving the environment. Good luck, by the way. Really tough. But you might do it. And that's the point. This is your opportunity to sort of get exposed to all those things that are going to help you think. And so what we want you to get out of this, what we would love to hear that you got out of this, is that you are starting your garden. And you're going to start figuring out what things you want in your garden so that we can actually start growing the system even beyond what it is today and start really innovating where we can take it tomorrow. And so our expectation is that you come with open ears and observing, listening, sharing, engaging with your mentors, learning everything you can gain from these amazing people. You have no idea how amazing the professionals that are here with our agencies are. They are just tremendous people who are visionaries, truly visionaries, special people. And you have an opportunity to be one-on-one with them. Come on in, visionary. And you can tell we're really formal, too. Hi. That means they're coming out of the meeting. So what we want you to get out of this next couple, 3 days is learn as much as you can. There are a couple sessions you might want to attend. On Monday, there's a couple like getting youth engaged in the outdoors. But really, talk to your mentor, engage with them, and ask what they might suggest based on your interests you might want to learn about. But the biggest one I want you to plant a seed on is on Tuesday afternoon between 1:30 and 3:30 is the culmination of this experience for you, and actually for us, which is where we're gonna have you guys select 2 or 3 people that you want to be your panel. And we're gonna put those folks up here. Just be prepared. And then what we want to hear from you is about your experience. What have you learned? What can we learn from you about this partnership and about where we take it in the future? How can we change things with you as a part of the solution for the future so that we keep you guys here coming back to these conferences every year or every time we have a conference? How do we keep you engaged? What was your experience like so we can learn from you? And then we want to have that be a dialogue between not just the mentors, but all the folks that are here as part of this conference. And I have a feeling it's going to be a big room. We're going to need a really big room. So as you guys get to know each other, scholars, think about who you want to be those people up here and leading that session and helping guide us to learn from you all what it is we need to learn from you all. And I think that's the other thing you're going to find we want to gain from you is what do we need to know? What do we need to know that we don't know yet about you, which I'm sure is a lot. And then just speaking to that point, actually, she's right here, almost on cue. One of the key things I think we also hope you get out of this, but it's not an expectation, we just hope, is that you learn to have your voice. In this organization, in this community, we need voices. Whether it's when you go back home with your peers, in school, when you're in a job setting, professional setting. And what we'd like to do is have Lei Kihoi. That's okay, that's good. And she actually wants to talk. She's actually a legislative lawyer, and she's going to talk to you guys a little bit about empowerment and how you can, in fact, make a difference. And that I'm going to leave with just closing this little piece of what we want you to get out of what the next couple days are going to look like. This is ideally what we want you to get out of it. So, are there any questions about sort of the expectations for you guys over the next 2 or 3 days? The other thing we want you to do on Wednesday is have a really good time when you're out on the river. We'll pass by the way. And we hope you have a really good time throughout all of it. But that's really ultimately you guys having fun. But there is some work here. A little bit of work to be done. So, you're going to get sugar first.
Yeah, I know on the schedule there was one session that was very obviously youth-oriented. Were there other specific sessions that you wanted to
It's really up to you what sessions you want to go to. I would encourage you, once your mentors get here, that when your mentors get here, to actually work with them to sort of figure out what might be good for your interests. And you're welcome in any session. Really, the sky's the limit. So do as much as you can. There's no right or wrong, and really just try to make this experience the best for you and what you want to get out of it. So, and there's also a lot of people here like Kevin. Jeff Jarvis was here earlier, who aren't actually like one-on-one mentors, but all of them are approachable. And Kevin, obviously, who threw out the computer and got everyone to push pin where they're from, we're all here for you as a service regardless. So just because we don't have an official mentor tag doesn't mean you can't come up and talk to us. Okay? So, all right.
May I jump in just for one moment? Teresa, earlier as I was in the meeting across the hall there, it was mentioned how much work you put in to this conference. And I want to say on behalf of the Forest Service how much we appreciate that, because we are very dedicated to making this work, and we're very dedicated to working with all of you in the future, not just at this conference, but the Forest Service is really interested in what you have to say throughout your process of growth and development in your careers and in your personal life as well. Anything that we can do to help you engage in the land and make those connections, we'd like to know about it.
Thank you, Teresa.
Oh, I got cold. This is what I look like. I just said the light bothers me, so I have to wear my glasses.
Trail management and the National Park Service. Together, they're beautiful. Stay tuned to the 12th Conference on National Scenic and Historic Trails in Missoula, Montana.